So normally for these review videos, I would sort of kind of be down with us losing. Um, well, I mostly am recording this video the day after on Monday, but this video probably won't come out on Tuesday, which will probably be the day, probably will be Tuesday as of whoever is watching this. But I'm not really. I mean, I'm not really that upset, I should say. Not that upset, not devastated, in any sort of way, because our team actually played pretty shockingly well, especially against a team like the Buffalo Bills. So of course, that's of course what we'll be talking about today in today's video is of course the Saints week four review. I'm getting the weeks now mixed up with the college and football. So, of course, as usual, welcome everybody to the BrewCrew channel. And as always, before we get into the video, if you guys haven't yet, or if you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the channel. And with that being said, let's just go ahead and get into it. And really, like I said before, was just pretty shocked of how well our team played, really. I mean, I didn't watch the first half of this game because I was at work, but I was keeping up with the game, and I saw we had a touchdown. We tied it at 7-7. We had a big interception, and it was against Josh Allen, and it was just like, huh. And then we go down by 4 points in the second half in halftime, and it's like, okay. Then second half rolls around, 1 point. We were down by at least like a couple scores, or at least now by a field goal or so. And then they kind of, I want to say, in typical Saints fashion, with having one of the best looking games or whatever, the defense or the team as a whole kind of mostly makes critical mistakes, and that's what cost us the game. And I do want to go ahead and say that I think that's what kind of lost us the game. There was some points, yes, with probably some offensive plays, like with offensive line, but it was just mistakes, and we'll kind of get into that. Really, as I actually want to focus on like both sides of the ball, and then maybe focus, and then kind of talk about the mistakes. Really, let's first talk about offense. This was a big step up and looked way much better than how the offense looked last week. First with Spencer Rattler, passing wise, wasn't the best. He only passed for 18 of 27, 126 yards, and again another touchdown. But his QBR was pretty good at 73. I think I'm not really good with the QBR rating and all that. But he was pretty productive as usual. Okay, really. But I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully everything will go up. There was an interception, but he didn't throw the interception. Apparently there was a trickery play that they did. I believe this was in the first half, and Chris Olave threw the pass and threw the interception. So Spencer Rattler did not have an interception in this game. I thought he did. But mostly passing and going through the air wasn't really great. I mean, the only top receiver we had was Rashid Shaheed, who had 4 receptions for 47 yards. Chris Olave, of course, had the only touchdown. Of course, had the only touchdown with 1 touchdown. He had only 3 catches for 20 yards. But that was mostly it. I mean, like I said before, Rashid Shaheed had the most receptions with 4. So not really big with the passing and all that. But then again, I also kind of want to say, like, this was a really good team that we were playing against, and this was a tough defense that, of course, has Tre'Davious White and all that, and a good secondary. Only key players they were missing was, of course, that linebacker. I can't remember his name for some reason. I kept saying his name a lot. And Ed Oliver, but I also forgot that they did have Joey Bosa. So, of course, they did still have some big players. Joey Bosa, who did have a sack, which Spencer Rattler was sacked 3 times, which is not too bad, really. But really, it was the running game that was really great for us. 189 total rushing yards by 4 people who rushed. I mean, Rashid had 2 for 5 yards, but it was mostly Rattler, Miller, and Kamara who had really good games on the ground. Kamara had 15 carries for 70 yards. Keandre Miller had 11 carries, 65 yards, and a touchdown. 11 carries would be his career high, and even Rattler was pretty good on the ground. He averaged 8 yards a carry on 6 carries, 49 yards, with his longest being a 15-yarder, that was I think in the first half. But all in all, it was a really great game on the ground, and definitely needs some improvement on on the passing side a little more, especially going into next game. But all in all, kind of a well-rounded offensive game it was, that definitely focused a lot on the running. And this was just a much better looking team, really, than what last week, because last week it's like the team wasn't prepared, or the team, I don't know, but I mean, the coaching was definitely there and all that is what people are, of course, saying. But really, again, this offense played really well against a really good defense in the Buffalo Bills. But let's talk about our defense, especially first against Josh Allen. We only allowed, I mean, yes, Josh Allen did pass for 2 touchdowns and had a rushing touchdown, but we picked him off one time, which was Jonas Sanker, the young rookie, getting his first interception of his career, but the first interception of the season for the Saints defense. We only allowed Allen 209 yards, though. That is pretty impressive, though, for our defense. The ground game was sort of a difficult factor. James Cook had 117 yards and a touchdown, so we could barely stop him. Of course, there was a big 20-plus yard run on a 3rd and long that our defense definitely, as usual, because I talked about this, is their tackling. But it's Josh Allen. He's a big dude. He's going to be tough to tackle. But and then again, it's also like this was a really good offense. And shockingly enough, we only allowed them 31 points, which, yes, is a lot of points. But I was expecting them to get like in the 40s, and also we sacked him 3 times. So we did get back there, I believe. Granderson, Cam Jordan, and I believe Brian Brzee, all 3 got back there for a sack. Yeah, I think I was right. Granderson, Brzee, and I believe Cam Jordan. Yes, Cam Jordan also, all 3 of them got back there for a sack. Granderson's been probably the best player on our defense right now, especially on the defensive line. He also had 2 tackles for loss and all that, which was really great. Quillen McKinstry had the most tackles with 7 tackles on the defense, 7 total tackles on the defensive side. Where is he at? Jonas Sanker had 4 solo tackles, 5 total tackles, but he had a great game. He had, of course, an interception, 3 pass deflections, and it was definitely a great game from him all around, really. But yeah, great game all around. For really just for a loss, and it's shocking to me. It's shocking a little bit for me to say that. It was kind of a shocking game. Mostly looking at the team stats, really. They only had 9 rushing. Well, they had a total of 20 first downs, and they were shockingly enough 3 for 10 on 3rd down conversions, and we did stop them on a critical 4th down, but we didn't do much on offense. I think we went down and scored a field goal. But really, against a team like this, especially an offense like this, we did pretty good. I mean, their top receiver, Sanker, had a touchdown, but he had only 69 receiving yards, which wasn't bad, really. Again, like I said before, the ground game was sort of a troubling thing because James Cook had 100 yards. But again, all in all, this was a really good step-up game, and hopefully with how this game went, it can kind of give us a little momentum into next week's game against the Giants, which, of course, we'll have at home against them. They did get the win. The Giants did get the win last week in a shocking upset with Jackson Dart. We are still favored even after them winning, so we're still a little bit favored. Not by much, though. We're still favored a little bit to try to win this game, but we'll see. It's at home. It's against, I believe they'll still have Jackson Dart, but of course I'll talk about it more in my preview video for that game sometime, of course, this upcoming week, later on in this week. But continuing on with this video, we're kind of getting to the end of this video. Mostly, of course, it wasn't just one side of the ball, really, that kind of lost us the games. It was mostly just the mistakes. Missing on a critical 4th down with that Alvin Kamara 4th down attempt was definitely a big mistake. Another big mistake, I talked about this before, was like letting up on the long third downs, and of course especially that critical one where I think that happened when we were like when it was like 21-19 and we needed to get a stop real quick. We needed to get a stop so we could try to like drive down the field and get like a touchdown to try to get the lead for the first time or something like that. And then most importantly, really in my opinion, the key, I think it was at this point, I think they scored, I think it was like 28-19, and it was still a lot of time left for us to at least like get the punt, return it a little bit, try to maybe go down the field, score some sort of points, and then try to see what our defense can do or see if we can get the onside kick after. But it was a critical punt, and of course, I mean, we weren't meaning to try to hit him, but of course, it was just a sad mistake of hitting the punter and of course his plant leg when he was punting. Kind of almost scary for him, but luckily enough, he has a knee brace. Definitely praying for him to get a little bit to hopefully get better and heal up and all that with that little knee injury. But that kind of mistake right there is kind of what cost us to stay a little bit more in the game. But that's mostly, I believe, what kind of made us lose this game was just the mistakes, and of course, I would say in typical Saints fashion of just us like getting us the moment of like trying to almost get the win, but then we fall short. But then again, also, I mean, I'm not also that mad as I was last week, like with last week's game, with this week's game, because like this was against the Bills. I knew from the start we weren't going to win this game, and nobody knew. But of course, like I said before, I was just hoping for us to at least be close. And even though, yes, 31-19 doesn't sound that close, I believe it's like an over 10-point game, they were 15.5-point favors, and I think they only won by like 11 or 12, I believe, which is still not bad. I want us, though, to get over the sort of 20 mark, the 20 or 21 mark, because we haven't got over that mark. I hope we will. I mean, the Giants are definitely a game that we could. Like I said before, I'll talk about that in my preview video. But really, that's kind of all I want going into next game. And hopefully with this sort of like momentum change a little bit with the team, hopefully that can be taken into the next game and hopefully in future games this season. But it is what it is. I mean, we're definitely not going to win this game. When, like I said before, we were definitely not going to win this game no matter what. So yeah. So with that being said, of course, sort of a rough loss, not really a rough loss, but of course a loss for the Saints, but sort of in a good way with some good things, though, you know, with good things happening in this loss. And a lot of fans are definitely pleased with how this game went, even with us knowing that we were not going to win. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought about this game and what you guys think you want to probably see in next game. Of course, again, next game against the Giants. Of course, we'll do my preview video on that at some point this upcoming week, in the next few days or so. So definitely let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you guys aren't as well, go follow me on X and on Instagram as well. Links to both of those will be down in the description below, so definitely go follow me on both of those platforms. So I'll be posting stuff and all that a little bit. So definitely go follow me over there on those two. Again, links to both will be down in the description below. And so with that being said, also for any of like LSU fans as well who watch my Saints videos or whatever, if you haven't watched like my previous LSU video or anything like that, definitely you can go check it out. Probably leave a link to that in the description below, or of course you can click it at the end of the video as well. It'll pop up for one of my most recent videos as well. Now with that out of the way, if you guys did enjoy this video though, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the channel. And with all of that out of the way as well, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys have an amazing, blessed day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.